Mm. Hey, everybody. It is the Friday before Christmas, and you are here at Litvak Leadership Live. And I am here today with my good friend, Alain Burrese. How are you, Alain?
I'm doing wonderful, Sean. Thank you for having me on your show.
I am so excited to have you on because actually it's the second time you've been on the show. I've now, all four of my original guests who were here when my audio was horrible. Alan rounds out that group where we have good audio now for the conversation.
Yeah,
If
we had some technical difficulties that first time.
Oh, we had some terrible technical difficulties at that time. But for people who don't know Alan, Alan is and I'm going to read this so I get it right because it's so impressive. He's the Active Defense Training Division Director at Reflex Protect. Alan has served as a paratrooper in the U.S. Army with the 82nd Airborne and as a sniper instructor with the 2nd Infantry. He holds both a business and law degree from the University of Montana, and his most recent of 9 books is Survive a Shooting. So, Alan, you are impressive as always, both in person and on paper. So I want to grow up and be you, I think.
Well, thank you, Sean. You might have to grow down, though, because you're getting past the age to get into the military and jump out of airplanes. That's for the young guys.
Yeah, I think I'm well past that age. So tell us about, because look, I've got a 22-year-old daughter. I've got a 25-year-old daughter-in-law. They both live in Chicago, which, it's Chicago. I don't think anything more need be said. They're both kind of anti-gun, and frankly, owning a gun in the city of Chicago is difficult, to say the least. Tell us about Reflex Protect, because the more I hear about this product, the more I think I know what I'm getting as stocking stuffers for these 2 young ladies in my family.
Yeah, Sean, I mean, put it simply, we have this personal pocket size Presidia gel that it works faster than pepper spray, and it doesn't contaminate everything else. So you could use this in your house, in your dorm room, in your business. It was designed to be used in hospitals. So the first clients were hospitals because of the workplace violence problem that a lot of people don't know about, that nurses and other hospital people getting beat up on the job. That's what this was designed for. And it has worked in hospitals. And now police officers are using it. It's being used in schools, churches, other places because it works fast. It doesn't cross-contaminate. And there's an antidote for it, if you will, a decontaminant, the Reflex Remove, that was super important for the hospitals. Once the person is restrained, they can reverse the effects really quickly. And that's real important for hospitals and law enforcement. For your daughter-in-law, they could spray this guy while he's in pain. They go to safety. They don't have to worry about helping him later. They just need safety. And this will allow them to do it because they can spray the person from 12, 15 feet away. They're in pain. They can't see. Your daughter-in-law, they get to safety.
So it sprays 20 feet.
And the big one sprays 20 feet. I mean, we have a bigger one. This is what they're putting in hospitals, like at nurse stations and under the desk on the wall so people can get it. Good on your nightstand, too. If you don't want a gun in the house, you can have this on your nightstand.
Okay.
It shoots a good 20 feet. Just pull the trigger. The smaller one, the sweet spot is 12 to 15 feet with the smaller one.
Okay. I'm writing this down. So do people who purchase this product, first of all, have a legal responsibility to also have the antidote, or is that not their problem?
It's not their problem. It's the same laws with pepper spray. Just like you can buy a pepper spray and spray a guy, get to safety. Hospitals want it because they do have a duty. They're in the hospital to take care of people. And a lot of violence is done by patients.
Okay.
Officers, they like it because once they've got the guy restrained, they can clean him up. And it's a more compassionate way to restrain somebody and stop violence, especially with all the news that we've seen this year against police officers. It's giving them a better tool to stop violence and then remedy it so to make them look better in the news, but it's also just better for them in general too.
So, so law enforcement and hospitals have some sort of way to counteract this after people call 911 and they show up.
Yep.
Okay, good.
They can have that. And if you have nothing, it's going to wear off on its own. It's just going to take longer. Or if you flush with water, that will speed it up. But this stuff will work within a couple minutes.
Got it.
Water, it might be 10 minutes. With nothing, you might be in pain for a good 20 minutes or longer. So it's
not that long. I mean, it's painful, but it's not that long. It's not like it's hours.
You're right. It's not hours, but it is super intense pain for that period of time, though.
Which as a father and father-in-law, yeah, glad to hear that.
If they're messing with your daughter-in-law, yes, let them suffer in pain, and while your daughter and daughter-in-law get to safety.
So what was the genesis of this product? What was the catalyst that brought it out?
This spray head was designed by a guy here in Montana, Steve Mangold, to make a better bear spray. And then he met Joe Anderson, an attorney entrepreneur who's worked in a lot of startups. And they started talking and said, yeah, that would be a good bear spray. It also might be good on the nightstand, at home, for a lady that didn't want to grab the gun or a guy that didn't want to have a gun. And then,
so you're saying a bear, like a bear spray.
Bear spray. Yep.
Okay.
And they were going to use the OC, the pepper spray, for bear spray because this is just easier to point and shoot than the other kind of bear spray things that you have to hold here.
Interesting.
But Joe Anderson also was in San Francisco, the Pettit Martin shooting in the early 90s. He was an attorney there, and he knew people that were killed in that shooting. Only he wasn't one of them. And that's what sort of got him out of the regular practice of law and into entrepreneurship and some other things he did. He also, when he saw that, he said, God, that would have been nice for those secretaries and people at Pettit Martin to maybe defend themselves and also to defend them, people to defend themselves against workplace violence. So that's when they had the idea. And they were still thinking pepper spray. They went to a hospital because somebody said, hey, that hospital was looking for a product to stop violence. And the hospital said, we love the trigger. We can't use pepper spray. It goes in the HVAC system. We have to shut the place down. Yeah. So Joe was like, what do you need? And the guy gave him a laundry list. He said, I need something that sprays out, but it doesn't cross-contaminate, that's effective. And I also need a remedy for it because we're a hospital. We got to take care of people. So Joe went to a place called Guardian out in New Jersey. They're well known in the industry for making pepper sprays and other chemical defense sprays, DOD approved. And Herb came up with a CS based Presidia gel. Now,
what is CS based?
CS is the same ingredient that is in tear gas. And we had to go in the CS chamber when I was in the Army, and most military people do. I mean, it sucks. But they took that instead of a gas form and they concentrated it into a gel so it wouldn't contaminate the whole room.
Interesting.
It affect the person you spray. And so they developed that gel, and then they got some chemists together that were detergent specialists. A couple of them worked on the OxyClean team, which all know OxyClean. So, I mean, these are some bright guys. They're the ones that came up with the decontaminant, the reflex remove. And so that's sort of how the company started. And that hospital was the first pilot and got approved. And it's a big hospital chain. They got like 70 hospitals around the Northwest. And I think they're down in Texas and Arizona. So, I mean, they're all over the West, a big hospital chain. They were the first ones to approve it, start using it. And they actually had uses of it. But then schools, churches, municipalities started getting interested. Then law enforcement started saying, hey, we're interested too. And they started replacing pepper spray. So we have law agencies that are buying Reflex Protect instead of their pepper spray now, and starting to replace that.
And
How it's gone.
So when you look at the society, and you could tell by my face, I was trying to figure out how to phrase this. The societal push for part of societal's push for less intense police officers, if that's even the right way to say it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Would this meet their ideal?
Yes, and that's why they're liking it, because it works quicker than pepper spray. But a lot of cops don't like pepper spray because it contaminates everything, the car, them, their partner. So
Sure.
they really like that it doesn't contaminate everything, but it stops bad guys. But then they can clean stuff up so fast. And so it's a game changer. And the cops that are and we're slowly getting into more and more agencies, they're starting to say, yeah, we like it better. And I think when it's used in public, it's going to be a better response because it is a more humane way. You don't have tasers locking people up, they fall and get hurt. Firearms, obviously, the big call against less lethal. And face it, there is a time and a place for lethal force.
Right.
There are many situations that less lethal is the better option. And we really think that the Presidia gel from Reflex Protect is the best, less lethal option on the market today.
So now what is a Presidia gel?
Presidia gel is just what we named our unique formula. It's unique company. And but I said the active ingredients is CS, but it's not the old CS in the gas form. It's in this new gel concentrate, which makes it just super painful, but it doesn't atomize to go in the whole room.
So I know now, in addition to the product, you also do safety training and defensive training at Reflex Protect. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yep, and that's sort of how I got brought into the company. The company was starting. I was familiar, Sean Paul, who worked at a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He and I had trained people together in active shooter response because we were both certified by Safariland to teach the 8-hour Safariland course. But Sean also knew that I had broke off from Safariland and was doing my own training, and I wrote the book, Survive a Shooting. He introduced me to Joe. Joe said, "What do you think of this?" And I was like, that's the missing piece. That is much easier than a fire extinguisher or improvised weapons that I was teaching nurses and teachers and other people in themselves with. So a little bit later, Joe's like, what if you brought your training knowledge, my product, join with the company, and we help more people? And that's what we did. And so my active shooter training programs, my de-escalation conflict communication programs, we're doing those under the Reflex Protect banner, as well as the Reflex Protect user training, teaching nurses, teachers, and those kind of people what it is, when and when not to use it, and how to use it, actually going out and practicing with it with those user courses. And that helps like a hospital or a school give the users certification, and you put that in your policy, and it makes the hospital or organizations, risk managers and attorneys and stuff happy.
Oh, sure.
You can buy this for your daughter. She doesn't have to be certified as a user. She can figure it out. There's a video online she can watch. It's really easy to use. But for a hospital administration, having policy and the training and everything, it just makes the administration and risk managers and attorneys a lot more happy.
So with the training, what type of things, when you say when to use it and when not to use it? So when would you not use it?
You would not use it as a classroom management tool or a patient management tool.
Well, yeah.
Even if you want to, it's only to be used, when there's a threat of physical harm. And so basically, it's a use of force continuum to make sure that people understand that this is for self-defense only. There has to be a threat of bodily harm, and the actual elements of that have to be present. The person has to be physically capable of hurting you. They have to have the opportunity to hurt you, and they have to have the intent to hurt you. And if one of those is missing, you're really not allowed to spray someone this, shoot them with a gun, or hit them with a fist. I mean, it's not self-defense if those elements are not present.
So, God, I love society. Who in their right mind would use that as a classroom or patient management tool? Have you actually run across people who said, "Oh, what if I have an unruly patient?"
We haven't, but we need to cover that because a lot of hospitals fall under some guidelines that they can use a tool if it turns into a crime. So if the guy is just struggling because he doesn't want his blood taken, you can't spray him or do something. It's not a crime yet.
Right.
It's a crime, though, if he gets up and he's going to start hitting a nurse or biting a nurse or punching a nurse, which happens all the time. Once it's turned into a crime, a hospital is allowed to use a tool to stop the violence and the crime. So it's, would they actually use it to do that? Probably not. But to cover your butt and to make sure all the lawyers and risk managers are happy, we want to cover that in the training. So
the training, how long is the training? When I saw the video of it, it looked like it was probably an all-day event where you're training not on just how to use it, but also self-defense and conflict resolution techniques.
Yep, the video that you saw was, I think, from the school, and it was the same thing for hospitals and other organizations. That was a combined active shooter response and reflex protect. So we cover all sorts of things on how to defend yourself, what to do in an active threat situation. So that training usually is about 6 hours, and we'll put a little lunch break in there. The de-escalation training that I do, that is 4 hours by itself. The active shooter is 4 hours by itself. But if you add reflex protect user training onto one of those, that bumps it up into a 6-hour type training. If the organization only wants the user training, maybe they did Alice or some other kind of active shooter stuff, that can be done in 60 to 90 minutes.
Okay.
We have an online version of that. So if you were at your church and you wanted to teach them all the user part, you could get a certification online, and then you could teach your own congregation or church or your own hospital or your own school.
Interesting. Okay.
We don't have the de-escalation online yet or the active shooter part online, but we do have the user part, and we have that online train the trainer so you could teach your own people. And we do have some hospitals that they did that because of COVID. They had me scheduled to come live to teach the user part, and because of COVID, they weren't allowed to bring me in, so they did the online and taught themselves.
So tell us a little bit about de-escalation techniques, because I'm guessing it's not only applicable in violent situations, but even could be applicable in business situations when you find yourself in an intense conversation.
Exactly. I think sometimes that training is more important than the active shooter, because we're not going to face an active shooter daily. In some jobs, you almost daily face somebody getting mad at you.
Yeah.
Screaming at you, and the bill, I'm not paying this, or I'm not doing this. So the de-escalation training is helping people learn that it's not a scary situation. They can breathe and control their emotions. I mean, if you yell at me, Alan, blah blah blah, and I yell, Sean, now we're just screaming back and forth. Nothing's going to be productive.
Nothing's getting done,
and we might get violent. So instead, you start doing it. I need to keep control, lower my voice, breathe, and work at, find something where I can connect with you to bring you down so we can actually talk and accomplish solving the problem rather than screaming and yelling and maybe going violent. So the de-escalation training has a lot of that, learning how to listen and learning how to communicate better so it won't escalate things, and then doing some role plays and practicing, because you can't just listen to me tell you about it. The best trainings are, we break up into groups and we practice and we role play being angry and how somebody can react and those kind of things.
Have you ever, in one of those role play situations, had someone accidentally make someone else cry?
I've had people get really intense, and we do have to stop things. I mean, in different kind of trainings, both the active shooter stuff and the self-defense and the role plays where we're really getting mad. And sometimes, I'm pretty good at it because I got a lot of years of experience. I can get really loud vocal and I'll start using swear words to elicit the adrenaline. I mean, we want to do that. And yeah, sometimes people do break down and get emotional and we have to stop and regroup and make sure that people are okay. We don't like it when that happens, but people actually learn, and when they get through it, they come out stronger after it as well.
Well, and I think, social media, in my opinion, has broken down barriers to the point where people get angrier faster. They allow themselves to type things out in a hurry and angrily that they wouldn't normally say to someone's face, but then that has now caused people to have less of a wall in public. And feel free to disagree. What do you think?
No, I think so. I think there are, and it goes up and down. I mean, there's still people out there that have a wall, but there are people that are a little more sensitive now. And we need to not necessarily bash that. We need to accept that for what it is and work with it. And there are also people out there that they get what they want by being bullies, screaming, yelling, pounding their fist. It's worked for them in the past because people don't want to deal with conflict and they just, hey, do what you want and get out of here. So they get what they want by being bullies and loud and obnoxious and swearing and slamming their fist. But rather than just give in to those people, I try to teach people some skills that they can actually communicate, and let's get through that and not just give in to a bully, but let's de-escalate it and actually solve the problem in a way that works for both people.
So when you do these trainings, I'm assuming that they're co-ed. Is it mainly schools or hospitals or associations? Who is most interested in these trainings?
Yes, yes, and yes. I've done a lot of hospitals, a lot of schools. I've done municipalities. I've done a number of churches, and we've done some businesses. So, I mean, it's a little bit of everything as people start learning what we have to offer.
Do you know Chuck Brewster?
Not offhand.
So Chuck was my guest yesterday, and he's a former U.S. Secret agent, and he has a church security business in addition to something else. I should hook the two of you up. You guys may be able to do some business together and leverage off of one another, I think.
That would be awesome, because again, I really think this is an ideal thing for a lot of church security. And here's something about this, and this would be good for a church security or for anybody, your daughter included. Just having this. So your daughter walks out of the mall. It's dark. She's shopping. It's dark. And she had to park way the heck out there because it was the only parking spot when she got there. Plus, you get extra steps, right?
Yeah.
Taking this out of her purse and putting it in her hand, that automatically makes her a little bit more aware. And so she's paying attention and less apt to be a target by somebody that's looking for an easy victim in the first place. Unlike somebody that's walking across the parking lot texting, not paying any attention,
right,
apt to be a victim. So this could keep her more safe even without ever using it.
So can you can you put that in your luggage on airplanes? Can you carry it on airplanes, or is that considered a no-no?
No, you can carry this size. You can have one of them in your checked bag. Can't
Okay.
carry on, but you can have one in your checked bag. I mean, my sister was up here. She lives in Southern California this summer. Sent her home with it. I sent her home with a real one and a practice one, and she had both of those in her checked bag. It's no problem. You can have as many practice ones as you want in your luggage, but you can only have one real one.
Now, what do you mean So you sell practice ones too?
Yeah, this one actually is a practice one. It has the yellow one here, and it says training unit. Where a real one, like here's one that's ready to go into a store.
Oh, okay.
You can see they got different labels on them. This one's real. The yellow one is actually for practicing, so it doesn't have an active ingredient in it. It's water, and so you can just practice using it. And then this is actually a real one.
So it makes sense when people buy this that they should buy a training unit so they understand how it's going to work. So the first time they're using it isn't in an intense situation.
Exactly. And when we do that live training with hospital schools and stuff, this can is a practice one. It says, practice training unit on it, and it's black. The real ones are a white can with a blue label.
Got it.
So we have practice of both sizes. And for the trainings we take them out and let them practice with these and spray them. And then you have the real ones on hand for if you ever need it.
Interesting. So in the circumstances in which we find ourselves now with different types of political unrest occurring and all the lockdowns due to the pandemic, have you seen your business on the uptick?
It's with hospitals, it's slowed down because they were so busy with the pandemic stuff. But we're just now starting to see it come back because the violence didn't stop with the pandemic, and so they were putting all the resources into that. Violence is still happening, so we're starting to see hospitals start to come out of a slump that we had when the pandemic started. Schools, they're so messed up with the pandemic, and some of them not even, that our school sales this year really slowed down. We expect them to come back next year. Law enforcement is the one that's really started to grow.
Okay.
And personal sales have started to grow, both on the website, on Amazon, and that package I just held up, we're getting into retail now. So we're actually moving in and going into retail stores, and we're starting to get some of the stores start to carry this. So we expect 2021 to the retail to really blow up.
So where's the better place to buy this? Direct at your website or on Amazon? Because so many people buy stuff from Amazon.
If you got Amazon gift cards, you want to buy it at Amazon, wonderful. But if you want to save a couple dollars, go to reflexprotect.com. And for your viewers, Sean, use first name, ALAIN. If you're use my first name, they'll get a little discount at the website.
Wonderful. So shockingly, we're at half an hour almost. It goes by
Time goes quick.
So
I love talking about safety and helping people stay safe. I mean, that's what I write my books about. That's what I quit the practice of law to do. So I mean, time does go fast.
So we've got a little bit of time left. What do you want to leave people with? What impression do you want to make to send them into the weekend?
I want people to pay attention to life so they can be more safe, just be more aware. And not only will you be more safe, you can enjoy a lot more. And just get out and enjoy life safely, because there's so many good things out there. Don't focus on the bad. Put one of these in your pocket just in case, and then go out and have fun and enjoy everything that life has to offer. Especially, we're coming up on next week. We got Christmas a week away, a wonderful, fun time. 2 weeks away, we got New Year's. I want everybody to celebrate safely, and then let's enjoy and have a fantastic 2021.
Awesome. Alan, thank you so much for being my guest today. It's always good to talk to you. And this was really lively about safety. I like this.
I appreciate it, Sean. I'm really, really glad that you had me on. It's always fun getting with you too.
Awesome. Awesome. So everyone, that was Litvak Leadership Live for today. And hey, we didn't talk about it. So in our final seconds, don't forget the mega coats. We are still collecting coats across the country for different ministries, for different homeless shelters. Depending where you are in the country, that's where it will go. For more information, you can email me at my email address there. You can direct message me on Facebook. If you're local in the Louisville or Southern Indiana area, I am happy to pick up the coats from you. And if you want to know where to donate them in your area, send me a message and I can help you find a worthy organization if you don't know one. That is Litvak Leadership Live for today. Again, Alan, thank you very much. Everyone else, be blessed and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, everyone.